Okay, I'm going to be doing a bit of a trade review on the week. Honestly, no complaints on the week. We ended with $131 profit. We took 5 trades this week. We took an MCL short, an oil short in the beginning of the week, or an oil long, and then we flipped to the shorts. We took double loss, unfortunately. Then I took an oil long on Monday as well. Uh, because my trend line was broken and I closed that the other day for 2.5% gain. So really happy about that. I could have sized up our contracts and held longer, but still no complaints on that. The next day we took a little copper short that was pretty short, but I exited early just because I wanted to take profit. And then later in the week, we took a copper long and made 1.2%, so not too bad. This was higher risk, so I did size down. I only traded 2 contracts here instead of my usual 3 or 4. And so, yes, it was $300, but the risk was about $400. So I just decided to exit and take some profit. And then to end off the week, we entered a silver long, which I'm not in anymore, but I was looking at it and it looked like price closed just where I entered. So I'm not too sure what will happen this week. If price goes down a little bit, I might re-enter off a break-in retest. But other than that, no complaints in the week. I had $1,000 loss at the beginning of the week, which definitely took a bit of a toll. But then later in the week, I made 1.1K. I made it all back, which I'm really happy about, which honestly creates the month right now. We're up 1.1K on the month with 12 trading days, which honestly, no complaints whatsoever. This day should have been $370. I over traded the crap out of this. And honestly, I should have definitely just been more patient with my position because this would have been a 2 to 3K trade as platinum was selling off like crazy. And honestly, I should have just waited for that, as we see here. Like I over traded the crap out of this, and I should have waited for a better entry, or at least hold longer, so I wouldn't have had these losses. And instead of 360, it would have been 1,000 or 2,000. But like I said, we're up 1.1K on the month right now. No complaints on that. Last month was 580. And honestly, this week, as unfortunate as it was about the first oil trade in the week, it's just I gotta move on. I gotta learn from it. And honestly, like with this oil trade being so rough, I'll kind of just go through the trade here. I entered on this break of this trade, but of this trend line here. But unfortunately, price kind of I got a bit unlucky because price like broke through at market open and got me into the trade, even though it didn't break it on the normal futures, like on CL instead of MCL. So I was stuck holding the position, and unfortunately we got stopped out as price broke lower, and then I shorted here because it was a 3 touch point break. So I took a $300 loss on the short, as we see here, or $400 loss on the short, as we see here. And then we entered long again on this break here when it retested at 56.8. And honestly, really unfortunate. I wish I didn't enter the first one, and so I wouldn't have taken a $600 loss, and the week would have been up more. But we can just learn, and I no longer hold trades through market close, and I wait for the market to open, and then I enter just in case price decides to jump and get me in on the micros while it doesn't do it on the macros. So we'll look at that. Was a little unfortunate. I mean, honestly, like it was 3 touch points. It was lower risk. Weeks worth of data. This was honestly like all my rules were followed, so I can't have any complaints about that for both of the trades. Just the entry on the first buy was a little unfortunate, and I tried to average down at one point, but unfortunately it just kept on going lower. And we did get a move upwards as we look here because I did close my oil long here for a profit, and this one was honestly really great. My stop loss was below, it was at like 55.9, so I'll input my stop loss. So I was risking 376 and I made 601, so it's over 1-to-1, so I'm really happy about that. But as we can see on the chart here, I sold up here and price just continued to push higher to 62.5 area. I likely would have gotten out at 62 or 61, but like I said, missed out on a 2K gain. But this was a really great trade. It was 3 touch points, low risk, week's worth of data. This was hit as well as, like, I did exit a little bit early, so I should have held to the safety line, and the market was trending because honestly, like, oil has had a massive decrease recently. And so I kind of saw this as a buying opportunity, and it did work out pretty well because this is when I was going to exit. I was going to exit at this trend line here because I expected a little bounce. But I did exit a little bit early and just decided to take some profit. And we can see here that it was honestly a really, really good break. It was 1, 2, 3, and there was a 4th touch point here as well. And then I entered in the middle of the day. I held overnight. I almost got stopped out here. It was down. I was up like 390, and then I was down, and then price shot up again, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was up 500, and then I was down to almost break even. And so this was a really, really crazy trade for me. But honestly, no complaints. It worked really well. But just like I should have held longer because I would have gotten out because I would have drew my safety line up steeper. And so I would have gotten out at 61.74 considering that I would have held per my strategy. But honestly, I don't mind exiting trades early as long as it's greater than a 1-to-1 risk. So I'll go through trade review later. But this was honestly really great trade. No complaints on this. I was targeting 59, so yes, I did sell a little bit early. Or what was I targeting? 58.75. So yes, I did sell a little bit early. Instead of making 764, I made 600. But honestly, this is my biggest trade to date, and we even see like the Zell insights are pretty good on this. And to me, this is why this trade gets like 4 to 4.5 stars. It was probably one of my best trades of the year right now, and I'm just happy that I like held long enough. I gave the trade room to play out. I gave room to the trade to play out, and honestly, no complaints on this. And as we jump to the next trade, this was a slight copper short, but I'm happy I did get out of this because price would have ended up stopping me out anyways. This copper went on a run, but it broke a 3 touch point trend line. I was like, okay, sounds good, I'll enter. But I was in my oil trade, so I got pretty nervous, and I just decided to take some profit, and because I didn't want to hold 2 trades at the same time, especially something that didn't feel right to me, because I was a little uncomfortable with this trade. And so, like I said, I exited for $21. It's no complaints on this. And unfortunately, if I held longer, I would have gotten stopped out. So I can't really complain about this. It's kind of just like meh, like slight little bit of money minus commissions, no problem. The next trade that I entered this week was a copper long. This is what I was kind of waiting for. I had a buy position in overnight on this one, actually. And so I was really patient, and I did wait for this. So that was the downward trend line. It was 1, 2, 3, with the first one being all the way back up here. And I had a buy order. And honestly, yes, I sold a little bit early, but when I got up in the morning, I almost missed my exam, and I was walking to class, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm up 300 US. I'm just going to close. And yes, I did close a little bit early because I would have made 600 US if I sold at 5.14, which was my original target. No, 5.12 was my original target because there was another trend line here off this, because copper wicked down a lot up here, so I drew a steeper trend line on that, and that's where price would have gotten me out because I exited expecting another bounce, and it did bounce a little bit, but it did push up higher, and so there's now another trend line that is drawn that's updated on these 2 higher wicks. And the stop loss on this trade was below this line here at the bottom. So yes, this was a higher risk trade. I think my stop loss was at 4.93. So yes, higher risk, but I did size down just because this was higher risk. I only traded 2 contracts instead of 3. But like I said, no complaints on this one. I did decide to exit a bit early and take some profit because I wanted to make back the drawdown that I had on the unfortunate oil trade. And that brings me into the last trade of the week, which was a silver long. I was going to bed that night and I was like, okay, silver has a 3 touch point trend line off these highs here, and it just hit 7 days. And so I decided not to enter and not to leave a buy order just in case price wicked up, because I didn't want to be responsible for a loss of like a few $100,000 during the night. And so I just decided to wait. And in the morning when I got up, price wasn't doing much. And so when price finally broke this trend line after CPI data got released, I entered a long here. Yes, I did enter a little bit high. I probably should have entered at 48.27, but no complaints on this. And I was just aiming for a $260 gain because I knew that if I made 260, it would erase my oil loss for the week and end the week green, all while also making me have $1,000 profit in the account and being up over 1K on the month, which honestly is really great. And it's kind of been like a goal for mine for the year, and just end the month up 1K, or have like 1K in profit, because to me it shows me that the strategy is working, and if I scale up it can also still work. And we've seen that the last like few months, if I go back here, I'll just like remove this. So we're up 1K, and yes, I did have a lot of drawdown in July. July was a really rough month for me. I overtraded. I got really greedy. I didn't follow my strategy, and we can see here I had like insane losses, like 2 platinum losses that were really quick, a silver loss that I shouldn't have entered in, and that was really rough. I was on vacation as well, so I did have external pressures, but still just really unfortunate. But as the month went on, I decided to focus on my strategy, and we can see here that it worked out. I made $600 in the last week of July with a silver short, which again would have been a lot more if I held longer, so I am working on that. But it was some of the most amount of money I've made in a trade. And then the following month I made 618. I had this platinum trade, which I didn't accept drawdown, so I was in like $1,000 plus of drawdown, and I should have held because it ended up being this insane trade. Like, it ended up being this crazy trade where it almost got me stopped out, and then it had this crazy sell-off that would have made me like 1,500 US. And so obviously it's sad that I sold early, but I needed to accept the drawdown ahead of time, and then I did well on a platinum long here. Again, the most amount of money I'd made at the time. And then the following month I didn't trade too much, classes had started, but again I hit my biggest trade ever here on platinum as well. And yes, I did sell early. As if we go into it here, we can see that I did sell a little bit early. I could have waited a little bit for it to break lower, and I would have made a few $100s more. But honestly, like, I was not complaining about that trade, as it was the most amount of money I'd ever made. And I had an oil loss here, which is unfortunate. But like, honestly, after July, like, I really focused on my strategy. I focused on being patient, and the gains started to happen. I started to hit record trades. And then jumping into this month, I started it off with the $600 gain, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is like the most amount of money I've made in a week. This is crazy. I did have a loss here, which kind of was offset by some gold shorts, but the gold shorts, if I held longer, would have been great. And even this one, I did sell too early. I should have trusted my short because I would have made a lot more money. But honestly, like I said, a small loss, I took it, I went with it. I still ended the week green, so no complaints. Then the next week I made 270, should have been more. And then this week I hit my record trade profit again on 623 US in one trade, and honest, or 600 US in one trade. And honestly, like just like following the strategy, we've seen that I was in a lot of drawdown, like $2,500 worth of drawdown, and we went all the way back up. We had like insane weeks of win after win after win, and even if we had small losses, we can see that they weren't really significant in the grand scheme of like my wins. And now with this week being finished, and yes, I took a big loss, but we can see that like the wins are happen more often than not for the losses. And currently we're up 1,000 in the account, and honestly, like I feel like if I can be patient and I can follow my strategy, the account can grow really well. I just gotta not jump into trades and accept that no matter what happens, I have to be okay with like the loss or the gain. Like on my oil loss this week, yes, it was a lot of money, but I was actually more sad about losing this amount of money in a day, or losing these, like instead of making 370, I made 270 because I overtraded. Like to me, losing $400 here actually hurt more than losing 1,000 here, because at least here I followed my strategy and I was able to actually like trust my strategy. And yes, it didn't work that time, but the other trades during the week really showed just like the strength in the strategy. And honestly, it's like we can see that the trades have gotten significantly lower as I've refined the strategy and been more patient. And this is when I had like one of my best months, and then the next month was the best month. And then now, yes, I did have more trades, but it should have been like within the 15 range, assuming I didn't overtrade on these days. And I'm up 1.1K for my biggest month ever. And even like the other day here, you can see withdraw. Like I withdrew money the other day because I hit, for every $1,000 I make, I withdraw 20 to 30% of that, and just as a nice thing. And even with that, like I withdrew 300 US the other day. Last month I withdrew 250 US, and I bought a watch the other day with my profits over the last few months. And yes, like I know I'm only up 1,000 in the account, but to me it's just crazy that like this has been working, and I just have to be patient and work on my entries. And honestly, like trading's been pretty crazy this month, and the week has been, yes, it started off really rough, but the strategy has really worked later in the week. And we can see like that, yes, the losses are big, but the wins are bigger. And the win rates are in, like my win rate for the month is really good. Like if I look at my win rate on the month, it's like 67%. And even on my days, like I'll have 100% win rate. And like it would be even higher if I didn't enter these other trades and try to like scalp it and just trust the strategy. And I'm basically in no drawdown now because of like I said, the wins being bigger than losses. And honestly, like the biggest thing about this strategy that I've learned is just to be patient with the strategy, because if you're not patient, then you overreact and it goes bad. And you just have to trust the strategy and be patient with your entries, and not honestly jump in, and just accept that when you exited the trade, you exited the trade and you're not re-entering. Because like I said, here and here, like these days should have been less loss or greater gain if I just accepted that I exited the trade and moved on and waited either for price to go back up to my entry price and then enter, or just move on for the day. And honestly, like we can see the win rate was really good in August. It was an 84% win rate in August, 84% win rate in September. And the profit and loss has been really good these last few months. Like, yes, like these months I was learning, so my trades were less and I was risking less. And this was when I got overconfident. And now, like, I feel like I've hit the right amount of being patient and not over trading as much. And we can see right there that the win rate's gone up significantly since earlier, except for June. But I exited like a lot of micro, like $30 gains. So it's, like these months aren't really representative, but we can see that's why I had so many trades. And in these months, I've made more money than I did in these months, but I've had significantly less trades. And over time, my win rates, my average win has gone up and my average loss has gone down, and my win rate has increased. So no complaints in the account. My Zell score is going up, profits going up, and that is the weekly and kind of honestly just like overall monthly update and kind of just what I'm feeling right now. And with the upcoming weeks, there's a lot of movement in the market because of CPI on Friday and the government shutdown still happening. And so honestly, like I'm just going to be patient and just wait for good entries, wait for the 3 touch point trend lines, and be patient with my entries and just try to hold trades a little bit longer here because, or at least hold past 1-to-1, which was what I've done this past month, and it's been working out really well because at that point, if you're not holding past 1-to-1, then like you can have like a 70% win rate, but if you're not holding past 1-to-1, like you're not really going to be profitable over time. So I'm really working on holding that, and the oil trade was really good because I was a 1.7-to-1, and if I held longer, it would have been like a 6-to-1, which is pretty crazy. And honestly, I'll keep you guys updated as the week goes by, but that is the weekly update. It's the weekly and monthly update so far. We do have a week left in October, and so I don't know if I'll take any trades. I'm just waiting right now for those really good trades, and I'd rather not trade than lose money and enter positions that I wasn't really confident in. And honestly, I think that's kind of what I want to do, is just wait for the right entries and just wait for the right positions. And honestly, like if gold breaks down lower, I'll short it because that's the 3 touch point. But right now I'm still waiting for a break of the 3 touch point trend line for the high, and I need my time requirements, I need my touch point requirements, I need it to be low risk, and just trying to set myself up for the best success of having these 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 trades. And honestly, that is kind of it. But always a pleasure. The last few months have been really volatile in the markets, and I'm just grateful that I've been able to capitalize. Even if it's not a lot of money, it's enough for me, and even just like some supplemental income that I can, like I said, take some money off and buy myself a watch, or like treat my girlfriend to a really nice dinner. And honestly, like making $1,000 in a month is just like the first part of that. And I think the beautiful thing about trading is the scalability. And I feel like right now that, like, yes, I could have increased my position sizes and I probably would have been really relaxed. Like this whole week after my losses, I was pretty relaxed. And even in this oil trade where I was up 600, I was pretty relaxed being up 500. I was okay with seeing it go from 400 to 50, $400 gain to $50 gain, and then back up to 500. And honestly, like when I started getting close to that $600 gain, I started trailing my stop loss, and because it was just the most amount of money that I'd ever made. And so I was just like really like excited. And like you can see here, the last few months I've had my biggest gains, and like 601, 530, 487, and they've been some of my best trades, but they've also been trades that I've been in for the longest amount of time as well. Like we have 1 day 8 hours, 2 hours, another 1 day 8 hours, 40 minutes, 7 hours. This is a little different. This was 5 minutes, but still pretty crazy. But like I said, I'll keep you guys updated. But that is a weekly update and monthly update, and I look forward to growing the account in the future and just being patient and understanding that trading is not always going to be up, as we've seen here. But as long as you refine your strategy and you create something where you have just a little bit of an edge over time, it can really pay off. As we've seen since July 22nd, it's kind of gone up. I've made like 3K since July 22nd, and that is honestly like a pretty crazy statistic for me. And so like I said, we'll keep you guys updated, but that is it. See ya.